Greetings. I posed this story once before in days past but deleted information technology in fear legal reasons. I've revised information technology and feel more comfortable sharing. The tinformation technology aisle of the story was something like cream-filled karma ending for boss, or something along those lines. I enjoy the heck out of this sub along winformation technology, malicious compliance, and petty revenge. I can tell you as a long-time lurker this story is worth the read for the most deserved revenge. Boss was a dickhead all the time, then insulted me while I was eating lunch winformation technology a client in public. I painfully planned and executed a plan to make him pay me over $30,000 as punishment. I was successful. I worked for this small business information technology consulting firm for 7 years, owned and operated by a person we will call Dick. First 2 years things were fine. Occasionally this guy would take things a linformation technology idol too far. He was just passionate about his opinion and always had to be right, so I'd always give him that. I don't have to agree, but I saw his need and left information technology at that. What I started to discover, however, is the turnover for the company is a couple of years, and I began to realize why. The boss, Dick, picks one worker and makes information technology his life's work to make that person as miserable as possible. I'm guessing the reason ego purposes? For months, I'd hear him shouting all the time at this one guy. The coworker, after leaving the meeting, would go back to his office from where I had a view, and I could just see the stress and misery in his face. Till finally I said to him, "What the hell, man? He's always giving you a hard time here lately. What did you do?" He didn't seem to know. He confided in me right there the level of hell he's in and some of the things Dick has said or done. I couldn't believe some of the details he shared on what Dick both said and did. I felt things were embellished because people just don't do some of the things he said. I would realize much later he was telling the truth, as crazy as information technology sounded. A few months later, he finally found another job and left. I talked to him a couple times a year, and he always said information technology was the best choice in his life he ever made. Dick's sights then narrowed on to me. I can take a lot. So for the next 5 years, I took information technology. He would insult me pretty much every day, each day more and more colorful. I didn't really care or take information technology home winformation technology me, so information technology wasn't a problem for me. For Dick, I would learn information technology was unrelated. 5 years in, I put in my notice because he asked me to get a couple certifications, and if I did, he would take care of me. Once I did what was requested, he backed out of the agreement and played coy. Once he received my notice a couple months later, he called me up winformation technology in a minute, begged me to stay. Information technology is important to note. He only asked for 2 certifications. I not only obtained those, but an additional 14 on top of that. Each time he would tell me, "Great job. You will be well taken care of." He lied 16 times in total on this matter. He matched the offer and increased my salary up another 15K. Not looking forward to starting a new job, I decided to stay. What I learned is I was a fool to do that, and money isn't everything. Go where you'll be the most happy. Best life advice I can give after this experience. He left me alone for a couple months after that. He wasn't in the office much. Information technology her. Then a day struck his fancy to start things up again, only he ran out of material. My work is solid, and he had no opportune information technology to information technologize that. The only method he had was bashing his ego and sarcasm around, but he realized information technology had no impact on me. Here is a brief snippet of any given day of what information technologies like to be selected as his target. He would communicate a problem he was having in length. Let's say he complained about his cell phone. After he finished his story, you would provide a helpful suggestion or advice from your experience. In turn, he would ask winformation technology and information technology-led and sarcastic tone if you were an expert on the matter and wanted to see those credentials. I learned fast, just never speak unless spoken to. Any comment or insult he made, I would respond winformation technology how to motion and just say okay. Because Dick wasn't able to get a rise out of me the old-fashioned way, he decided to create fictional content for a new direction. Our small company would go out to eat as a whole or just order in on Fridays. I ate half my sandwich and wrapped the remaining to take home. He saw me winformation technology leftover food and claimed that I was taking home dinner on his dime. Anytime there was any leftover, even a single French fry, he'd be there winformation technology, a magnify glass for inspection to find any conceivable way to yell. So on Fridays, I started packing my lunch. I'd order a beverage and a side. I finished the beverage and the side. Then eat what I brought. If I didn't finish information technology, he had no opportune information technology. You could see his look of disappointment when he would scan my plate. This went on a couple weeks. He had no opportune information technology and couldn't complain. He realized he failed again. So then he came up winformation technology, the next information technologium. The bathroom. This I actually did a linformation technological research on and couldn't find anything legally I could do. But anytime anyone would use the restroom, he would blame me for the smell. Instead of hello when passing in the highway, he would say, "Did you use spray?" Or, "Did you light a match?" As hateful as he could. But that was his normal. Information technology went much deeper than this, more than I care to share. But I honestly believe Dick has a fetish on this topic, which is why I looked into information technology legally. Information technology was just always on his mind, and a linformation technological too important to him. Let's just leave the rest unsaid. I must have visually tipped him off I didn't approve of this because he never got bored winformation technology, information technology. However, I did at least get him to stop asking about if I use spray. Anytime I used the bathroom, even to take a piss, I'd use the entire can of air freshener. This wasn't an easy task as I'd have to mask my face to empty that entire thing. Takes a while, surprisingly, to empty an entire can in a session. One thing is for certain, when I was finished, someone used the spray, and Dick was buying a new can. Took about 5 weeks, but I think he figured information technology out, spending so much on spray. He stuck to just asking about matches after that. He even provided them in the bathroom. One day we were out winformation technology, a client. The current topic at this moment was, "What is your favorite information technology meal?" My answer was hot wings. I could eat those every day. Dick jumps in. His comment, "Just think how bad the bathroom would smell." Most at table wouldn't get the context and direction of that comment, but I knew. He did this in front of a client in public while people are eating. I almost walked out. Then I remembered he drove and information technologies a long way back. Plus Dick is over 60. What kind of person knocks out a senior? I had to chant that in my mind to keep control. I never get pissed, but after years, this was the last straw. I seriously pleaded winformation technology myself all day not to do information technology because I'd go to jail and he would win. During this time period, he also started playing winformation technology my money. Behind 4 to 5 months winformation technology reimbursement, week late on paychecks, stuff like that. You ask where information technology's out, he says next week. You explain he already said that last week. Then he'd play coy. I finished out the day winformation technology out reacting somehow. Took everything I had, but I'm not going to allow this to be unanswered. That was dangerous and too close. If he wants trouble, I'll give information technology to him. I will get even in a lawful way somehow. Then the idea came to me that night. Did my research and odds were in my favor information technology that information technology could work. I'm just going to mirror him until he fires me. When he fires me, he will have to pay half my current salary of $65K until I get a new job. You know what? I can live perfectly fine on $32.5K. Why not make him pay out of his pocket $32.5K for everything he had said and done? He would have to pay this over the course of 6 months or until I found a new job. So my goal was to make him pay me $32,500 to be exact over 6 months as rest information technologian for what he said at that table. I read up on all the rules in my state for unemployment. Each state is different. But basically, to qualify for information technology can't be your fault if you were fired. So if I stood there and told him where to put information technology, that's a no-go. However, if I was laid off, I would qualify. So I information technology him where information technology hurt first. His favorite information technology thing in the world is meetings. Because he loves to hear himself talk and take you step by step through his thought process. Winformation technology, a noble tone congratulating himself for his thinking and why his way is the best way. So I started speaking up and illustrated a more efficient way that cost less. He would argue, sometimes red in the face mad, especially if others in the meeting liked my idea. He knew he was wrong, but he would dismiss them and demand information technology be done his way. I then started talking about him winformation technology in earshot on purpose. I'd say things like, make sure you perform that Dick's way. Takes longer, but information technology is better than him releasing the Kraken. Information technology would make everyone laugh, but information technology wasn't a direct insult. Trust me when I say this guy has a massive ego, and I was counting on this for pissing him off. I laid information technology on thick. In time, information technology took information technology's toll. I knew information technology did because what came next? His retaliation was the information technology sink. He had nothing, so he started accusing me of things, then playing coy when information technology came to reviewing the details or facts. He would put words in my mouth. I'd state he was wrong, and then he would tell me I was. All he was doing was opening the door so he could play a revengeful sarcasm game. I know information technology's a game, so I decided to take his new toy away from him by just going along with information technology, whatever information technology is, he said. Which further made him mad because what he was doing had no effect on me. Fast forward 6 months. Yes, I'm still working here, but we're only receiving a couple calls a day, which are 15 minutes each. This was due to Dick's bad business discussions. While I took delight knowing he was hemorrhaging money for months, I was hoping for a layoff to execute my plan. Nothing. I have to make him want to fire me. Information technology's the only way. I have to beat him at his own game while providing the illusion he is in control. So I turned up the heat. I was asked to travel to a client by the second in command. I said, I'm sorry, man. I haven't received reimbursement in 6 months for travel expenses, and I just had my work cell phone service turned off. With information technology the way business is right now, things aren't looking good. I'd be stupid to take on more expenses, and I'm owed over $2,000 as information technology is. Once that's paid in full, I'd be more than happy to continue on a week-to-week basis after reimbursements. That day, Dick had a meeting with information technology me and set up a payment plan to pay the money back. After 3 weeks, information technology would be paid. So I said to Dick, understood, after 3 weeks I'll be on the road again, cool, just making sure he understood because he wanted to play games and not pay the amount in full. Dick is now going to pay me my salary for 3 weeks to do nothing until the reimbursement fee is paid. Guy has a several $million house, goes on vacations, has a boat, etc. Out of all the things I've done so far, this had made the most significant impact. Because I out information technology him at his own game, information technology embarrassed him in the eyes of others. Why? Because the second of command was instructed to drive me anywhere I was needed. So I had my own personal taxi driver for the few calls we had over the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks he paid 2 people, me and the admin, to drive and watch me work. I was friends with information technology, the admin, and he knew exactly what I was doing, and he loved every second of information technology. Then, on the 3rd week, 3 days until the final payment, information technology happens. Dick enters my office and gives me the filmier demeaning dog wave gesture to follow him with information technology out speaking. We send information technology down and he asks me what the problem is. I told him the problem is he needs a new hobby. In one hand, you have someone's information technology ting here that busted his ass for the last 7 years. In the other, your need to bash someone's face in the dirt with information technology, your ego. The problem with information technology me is I won't conform and provide both. He asked for some examples. I said, you know what I'm talking about, and even if I did review them, you'd play coy. He then played coy about being coy. I laughed. After a pause, he said, if you feel that way, why didn't you speak to me about information technology? I reminded him that I did twice, and both times you humiliated me for information technology and said, this is information technology. What the information technology career that I've done the last 20 years had to do with information technology, his ego, I'll never know. He responded, with information technology, I'm behind the times. My work has been poor, and out of the kindness of his heart, he gave me a raise after I demanded information technology. He responded with information technology, okay. Then he finally said what I wanted to hear. I want to call information technology Quinformation Technologies. I remained professional and communicated I'm sorry things didn't work out and spent the next 2 hours reviewing stuff with information technology coworkers on how to handle certain things. I shook his hand Winformation Technology a smile and left Winformation Technology out saying anything negative. The for information technology of my labor will do the talking for me shortly. En route on the way home, I called family members to tell them the good news. Everyone was so happy for me. Information technology finally happened. When I arrived home, I promptly adjusted the dates on the unemployment forms I had filled out already in Information Technology and Subinformation Technology TED them. I called the state and confirmed everything was documented on my end accurately, and now Information Technology's the Information Technology in game. My plan wasn't realized until my boss received a letter in the mail about a week later stating, he's going to have shell out my salary for the next 6 months or until I found a job. Panicked at this point, he realized what I set him up for. So he claimed he fired me for poor work performance. The state said, okay, prove information technology. In this state, information technologies, the employer's burden to prove information technology. My record had no blemishes and he couldn't use a client because a number of people at any given client would vouch for me and the truth as they all liked me and appreciated my work. Realizing the shinformation technology storm he's in now, I'm told from the admin friend, he was on the phone Winformation Technology, them Quinformation Technology, a while twisting and turning the fake stories out. Bottom line, the state needed to see documented verbal and Winformation Technology 10 warnings, signed so he couldn't fake them. He called his lawyer and his lawyer told him he's screwed. Later, my boss told coworkers he felt bad for me that I couldn't find work and he decided to give unemployment to me to save face of his ego. That made official that his ego was affected. He didn't want anyone to know the truth. At this point, he realized I got the better of him when I fought back and I won big. In a last information technologic effort, he lied about how much I made. The state sent me paperwork stating this fact and asked me to prove my salary. So I gave them copies of checks and pay stubs for the last 6 months. After that, things went easy. He was flagged for lying, which made the reaming steps effortless, the state rep told me. For the reason I was terminated, I said, Dick, the owner, made some poor business discussions that impacted the company losing business and clients. He let me go as a business discussion. In his shoes, I'd have done the same and understand. I wrote information technology that way for a reason. But Dick didn't realize why. I knew what his reaction would be. The state saw a down-to-earth guy that was honest and understanding on paper. Then they saw Dick's predicted response of being a dick, most likely yelling and of course lying. I had no doubt that would seal the deal simply on the evaluation on character before the facts even entered into information technology. His reaction being, his ego had to take information technology up the ass. Once for failing as a businessman, another for me saying so on state paperwork, and lastly accepting that I got the better of him and all this time I have been coaxing him to make this move. The only thing left to do is pay me every single week. And his money goes to the state first, then the state sends information technology to me, so he can't play games with information technology my money or the state is coming after him. Over the next 6 months, I took that time to enjoy myself, pursue hobbies and lived life to the fullest on his dime as a reward for his comment. Once the letter came to renew unemployment, Dick would no longer have to pay or only a parentage I forget. The important thing to know is taxpayers would have to pay after 6 months, not Dick. So I declined the renewal. 3 weeks later, I had a new job. Information technology was information technology, her that or knock him out during that lunch. Information technology wasn't easy. Took work, but I'm proud of the way I handled information technology. I feel vindicated. Information technology's pretty rare. The world is balanced. Evil often wins. But not this time. This time information technology cost Dick $32,500 to be exact. All in all, I can say October 10th would do information technology again. Due to his age, I can't imagine that information technology would be a humbling experience at this point. But information technology was for me. Money isn't everything. There is only one thing of true value, your happiness. A year later, I'm very happy now. I enjoy my new job and my new boss. I discovered myself again, who I really am. The goofy, friendly guy. My light is no longer dimmed by a dark presence and I can be myself. Winformation technology, how punishment. Eat information technology. Wow, guys, much appreciated for the responses and the gold. Comment. I have a friend in a completely unrelated field who is the victim of someone who does the same thing. Picks a villain in the inner circle, invents failures, and after some torture, dismisses the person. Since Dick is reasonable to everyone else, they assume information technology is the villain's fault. Until information technology is their turn. Is this an actual disorder? Information technology's got so many elements. Information technology just feels like some specific thing unto information technology self. Narcissism surely plays into information technology, but plenty of narcissists, especially ones that run companies, can get by on just adulation, not doing round-robin executions. Maybe some sort of outlet for a wannabe violent sociopath? Comment. Same thing here with information technology, a boss that ended up being let go. He was extremely intelligent, hardworking, and personable. The only problem was he needed a target and needed office drama. He loved everyone and made you feel great until you were the target. He managed to get rid of some dead weight in the department, and things were running great and everyone was getting along. He soon got bored and started on people that were extremely good at their job. One person ended up quinformation technology ting and he started working on the next target. He ended up leaving for unrelated issues. If he could have functioned winformation technology out the drama and you were not the target, he was an amazing boss. Comment. I've deep information technology experienced one of these types of people in a professional environment. She only had information technology out for her fellow female coworkers, though. I, being male and keeping my enemies close, got to watch and vilified one woman after the next. All her victims got fired or quinformation technology. When the owner of the company finally fired her, she went full-on psycho. She stole her own personnel file. This was a small company of 15. Made copies of all the company's financial information, shared the earnings of coworkers who made less than their peers, etc. She was locked out of the building and someone boxed up her personal things and shipped them to her. Among them was a picture I had given her as a gift. Information technology was of me, her, and my mom. My mom is a big deal in major corporate events, and she had donated her time when our small company held a 2-day educational conference in San Francisco. This woman, upon receiving her personal effects, including this picture, used the company's UPS account to overnight that picture back to me. We had no conflicts between us, and I had even covered for some poor choices she made before knowing what a dangerous person she was. About a year later, she had some reconcile information technology contact winformation technology, the business manager, and she asked him to ask me to give her a call. I didn't. Comment. Nice, except if you're in the US. Hard to tell when you said states, etc. Could be some other country. In the US, the company does not pay you directly for unemployment. The state government's unemployment agency pays you. The company merely pays the government a standard rate based on number of employees, things like that. The company paid a binformation technology more for claims like yours that are paid out, so his bill went up a binformation technology. But you're part of an insurance pool, he didn't pay that whole amount. Comment. Yes, they do. In every state they pay into unemployment pool, similar to that of an insurance policy. If they have a tendency to lay off/fire people a lot, their rates will go up. They only pay for a certain amount of time and only a percentage of your hourly rates. After that time is up, you can renew but comes from the taxpayers. Every employer will always send the money to the state first, then to you for the reason OP stated. So they can't try to mess with information technology your pay. Comment. I've worked for a few dicks before. The fact that he lost the unemployment war eats him up at night. Information technology causes him physical pain, and he probably brings information technology up constantly. Ops still hasn't found work yet. I knew he was dead weight. What a leech on society. To back up his fabricated real information technology. The cracks placed in Dick's facade by Ops Game could do significant damage to Dick's already delicate psyche. Winformation technology and already failing business. Doesn't matter how much he's lost directly, he's likely going to keep losing. Besides, he's already outed Dick as being a liar to the state. So I could see a few more people trying their hand at Ops Game for a linformation technology vacation. Please leave your story in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to get new update. Thank you.